What's going on, everybody? James Bouligny here for Hoops. We have some great games for you this week. We have some great games that we went to on Tuesday as well as tonight. Before we get into it, though, we gotta welcome my co-hosts, Paul Harris.
Hey, James, how you doing, man?
Doing good. And Ryan Chadwick and Nick Thompson.
What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
It's going, guys. All right. Before we get any further into it, though, we do have to thank our title sponsor, Whataburger.
How can you describe Whataburger's honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich? The chicken just has a certain... And then there's the sauce that just gives you a little bit of... And the cheese? It's the exact right amount of... It's almost too hard to put it into... Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. The honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich at Whataburger. Just like you like it.
All right, let's get into some of Tuesday's games. Chadwick, you went to Central and Midland Legacy. How'd it look?
It was a great bounce back win for the Bobcats after being on the road last Friday and just kind of getting spanked by Permian. Of course, they didn't have one of their best players. TK ended up getting suspended for a game for that ejection last week.
Was that the team's decision, or?
I'm pretty sure it was Jeter. I talked to him, after Tuesday's game, and he said that not only did TK respond well to the team's decision there, but has pretty much used this as a learning experience. So we're going to see if that young man, if it sticks, then he's different moving forward. But Jeter said at the end of the day, everyone loses their tempers, and he's just using this as a learning experience. But anyway, with TK back in the lineup, the combination between him, Ian McNeil, and Christian English was just way too much for Legacy on Tuesday. They scored 31 points in the first quarter. McNeil had 12 of those. And then after that, second, third, and fourth quarters, it was all squeaky English. He ended up dropping 30 in that one. And the Bobcats bounced back in a big way with a huge 85-60 win.
All right. Nick, what about your games? You went to Lubbock Cooper, correct?
I did. Lubbock Cooper played. It was
Amarillo Caprock.
Amarillo Caprock. That's right. I thought it was Tascosa. I'm sorry. That game was interesting. Cooper came out hot. They were high defense. I mean, they scored off. I want to say it was like 18-6 in the first quarter. Honestly, thought it was going to be a blowout. A lot of I hate to say this, but a lot of sloppy play. I mean, from them towards halftime and especially into that second half. There was a lot of turnovers. A lot of inbound passes that turned up into layups and basically, and at one point, I mean, they were up by 21 points, and then they ended up towards the end of the fourth quarter was down, or they were up by 5. So it was a really nail biter towards the end there. But Lubbock Cooper ended up taking the win at the end of the day.
All right. And Paul, what about you? You went to Miles and Ballinger, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Miles Ballinger game.
Yeah, it was a first place game. In fact, I mean, there's a three-way tie for first with Ballinger, Miles, and Roscoe, and so the loser of Ballinger Miles was going to fall, to third in that district. Miles led most of the game. Really thought they were going to take it, but Ballinger hung around with about 4 minutes left. Matilda Galvan scored 8 straight points, got him the lead, and then it was just a defensive battle from there. I mean, Miles did not score over the last 3 minutes. They had their chances. And they had one last chance with 5 seconds left, called a timeout. They had a chance to, on their end of the court to win the game, and just a huge steal, dribbles out the clock, and Ballinger escaped with a 39-37 win. So huge win for them, and now they've got Roscoe next, and the winner of that game, could win the district title. But Miles still plays Roscoe, so we could still have a 3-way tie for the district title. Still a lot to be determined, but Miles no longer controls its own destiny.
All right. Well, I went to Christoval on Tuesday, played Ozona. That girls' game was a big one. Christoval needed to win here to keep pace in the district for district championships. I think they won 49-32. They had them down. Christoval had them down, but they had a big first quarter, big third quarter, and then Coach Blalock pulled his starters, put his backups in there, and Ozona did start coming back. I think they had a 17-point fourth quarter, but it wasn't enough to overcome Christoval. This Christoval team is really good, And one thing that, I'm going to talk about is, let's talk about the rankings real fast. I don't understand why Christoval girls are not ranked at this point. They've only lost to ranked teams. They've beaten some ranked teams. And at this point, it's just hurting the rankings. It's hurting the validity of the rankings. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, honestly, we knew Christoval was a top 25 team coming into the season. I mean, they made it to the final 16.
I mean, they returned everybody.
Yeah, all 5 starters, including 2 All-State girls from a team that went to the regional semis last year. So this is a team that has called out that they want to make a run at the state tournament. So how in the world they're not in the top 25, I don't know. Sometimes our teams out here get overlooked, it seems like, in some of these rankings. But I'm sure it's fine with them. You know, they'll just fly under the radar and maybe surprise some teams, you know, come playoff time.
Well, maybe it was like an email that went to an old email and got sent back or something like that. Maybe it was something like that. But we actually have an interview with Coach Blalock. I sat down with him earlier in the week, and we talked about the Ozona win, and we talked about how he's doing as a coach. This is his second year at Christoval. We talked about how he was doing out there. So let's get to that real quick. Welcome, everybody. James Bouligny here with Hoops. Today, I am interviewing Christoval's Lady Cougar head coach, Brad Blalock. Coach Blalock, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. We're glad to be part of this and get to talk a little basketball.
All right, man. Talking about last night's game, you know, you went up big. You were like 19-3 in the first quarter, and you kept it up. And then that fourth quarter, yeah, they scored, I think, 17 in the fourth. But at that point, you kind of had it all wrapped up. Kind of talk about the game last night and how you're feeling today about it.
I feel really good. The point of emphasis was to really to stop their 2 better players, Avery Davidson and Kellen Gass, and they're 2 very good players that can really decide a game. And so between the defensive Kaylin Workman and Hallie Hughes on Kellen, and then Jay Thompson and Sophia Nemick did a really good job on Avery Davidson, and as well as others have contributed onto it. But we wanted to start off strong. It was a really big deal. We knew we beat them the first time at their place, which is a tough thing to do. And starting strong was the key. We wanted to come out strong in the third quarter. We had as you mentioned, a good first and third quarters that allowed us to maintain the lead and had that 30-point lead going into the fourth quarter. It allowed us to rest our kids a little bit. I think rest at this point in the year is very important, as if you're going to make a deep playoff run, and we want to make sure we're healthy. And yes, would it have looked a lot better and if we maintained that 30-point lead? But at the end of the day, district title is within reach, and that's what we wanted to try to get done. And we wanted to make sure that we do the right thing and make sure we develop all the kids and get all the players that we can get in. So we feel really good about where we're at coming out of that game and health wise, and able to do what we did early and at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's 1 point or 10 points or 100 points, a win's a win, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you pulled your starters and everything. It was a pretty physical game. I was there, and there's a lot of physicality in it. You know, is that something you pride yourself on, coaching? Well,
it's encouraging that we might have been in a physical matchup, but I don't think we didn't back down from that. And that's important, that we maintain the physicality to make sure that we hold our position and we get ourselves in the best position to get a rebound or get a stop. We're going to run into teams that are very physical, and we've got to be prepared for that. And if we can handle physical, then that won't be a problem for us in the playoffs. And so I think anything that we can get in the district portion of the schedule, especially against a team that's going to be Ozona's, they've clinched that number 1 seed in the big school division, and they're going to be a tough out for somebody, or vice versa. And so that physical nature of the game allows us to work on how we can be better when we respond to that, and as well as makes us tougher as we move on.
All right, now, and you kind of brought up, you know, Hallie Hughes and Sophia Nemick, now all your players. Talk about, I mean, obviously Hallie Hughes recently signed with Angelo State. We'll talk about her impact on the court real fast.
Well, you know, last year we had her in the role of a shooting guard, and we really love that role, but we really felt that she causes a matchup nightmare for a lot of people. So we decided to make the move to make her a point guard this year. And man, what a tremendous move that was to pay off. She's leading us in assists and rebounds and in points, top 3 in steals. And so when one of your better players is handling the ball as much as she does, it's causing a lot of issues for other teams. And if you look at Natalie Brooks last night, she comes off the bench and hits 2 threes, and one of those is assisted by Hallie. Madison George hits 2 clutch threes. You can't guard. It's very difficult to guard a very talented player that's going to play at the Division II level, who can handle the basketball, who can score it, who can post up, who's rebounding, and then also guard the shooters that are coming off the bench. Jordan Walker came in and started the game and had 2 buckets for us really early on that established that inside out presence. You've got Sophia Nimick and Kaylin Workman who are crashing on the offensive boards all the time. It's just tough to stop when you've got 5 scoring options on the court at one time. And we feel like given circumstances and given lineups that we're a tough matchup to stop because of how many people can put the ball in the hole. So Hallie means a lot to us in that regard because she can get it to where it needs to be. And at the time when she needs to score like she did last night, she had 17 after 3. That's really big and helps us with that information. So,
right. No, I mean, obviously Hallie and Madison get a lot of publicity. They are, they've been there for a long time. They're seniors this year. But one player I was really, really impressed with last night with her hustle was Nemick. She was just a dog out there. She was getting steals left and right, and she was really impressive to me last night out there. Talk about her impact.
Well, we actually joked about it yesterday, and I think I heard from my pastor a couple days ago. He was talking about that he referred to himself as a crock pot. Sophia Nimick's a crock pot. She lets that information come in, and it's going to marinate for a little bit, but when she watches film, and if you look at our stat program, she's watching hours of that stuff. And so she's going to know who she's defending, and she's going to know what moves they do. And then the intangible for Sophia is she goes hard all the time, and you may guard her well, but she's going to find the open crease to get a rebound. She's going to dive after the loose ball. She's going to, in our Christmas tournament, she made herself available for 6 to 8 transition points a game because she just beat the other people down the court. So she's going to do what the opponent's not willing to do. And that's what makes her so good about, the very first possession of our third quarter, we set a great play. Jordan made a great pass to Hallie in the corner and she missed it. And who else is going to get the rebound but the 5'5" kid who comes in there and gets the board? I mean, that's exciting when you've got a kid that should not be getting the rebounds, getting them. And then we had a little foul trouble with Kaylin Workman in the game, and she had to D up Kellen Gass for a possession or two, and she's given up 6 inches, and that kid didn't score when Sophie was on her. So the grit that she exhibits is phenomenal, and it makes you proud to coach a kid like that.
All right. Now, talk about the rest of the season from this point forward, though. Like you said, you've kind of – I think you said last night if you win this Friday, you've kind of locked up that first seed. What do the playoffs look like? I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead, but I mean,
you've got to prepare for it, and that's a good question. It's we have locked up the number 1 seed for the Division II portion of the playoffs. This year, the UIL it eliminates. We're a lot like football now. We're eliminating the regional quarterfinal round, so we've got everything set up. And this year is also unique that the state tournament doesn't have a semifinal round at the Alamo Dome. We'll still play it, but it's a matched up game as opposed to meeting down in San Antonio. So we know how it's set up. It's 3 weeks starting February 10th week, and then your championship's the February 27th. So it's going to come quick, fast, and in a hurry. But there are a lot of we'll call small school. It's not small, big. It's just Division II versus 1. The enrollment size schools that are really good in our division. And so we're looking at probably playing a Miles or a Roscoe in the first round, the bi-district round, around February 10th. And then it looks like if you're lucky to advance past those 2 good programs, you've got a Whiteface team that's 28-2 and has only lost, I think they're number 3 or 4 in the state in 2A. They've only lost to Farwell and New Home, which are also top 10 teams in the state. If you get past that, we're going to run into Farwell, and that's kind of been a nemesis of ours in the last 2 years. We've played them 3 times, once this year, twice last. And, you get there, then you've got a New Home team who beat us out a couple years before I got here, or maybe a Clarendon team, Groover, Vega. It's Region 1, 2A in that small division, or the lower classification is just very tough. And so, but I guess that's why you do it. I think our goal was we made it to the regional semifinals last year, and we want to get back to that point. And we feel like we've got a team that has the depth, that has the potential to do that. And, there's a lot of things that go into it. The luck involves the staying healthy and hitting the right shots at the right time. And, only 5 people have beaten Farwell and Whiteface if we were to get to that point. And, again, Miles is playing well at the right time. So is Roscoe. We beat them earlier in the year, but they're 2 good teams that do things really well. And so, I mean, unlike past years, you're not playing a 4 seed in the playoffs. You're going to play a 2 seed that is very capable of knocking you off at any point in time. So we're not going to overlook anybody, but it's a pretty tough little road moving forward.
Is it different? Y'all aren't ranked for, I don't know why, but y'all aren't ranked. Is that for the, I know that that's painful for the kids, but is it kind of hard to, are you happy that y'all aren't, because you can kind of sneak in and nobody's going to recognize y'all, or?
You know, I think the coaches that prepare and understand, they know what we're about. But yeah, it's kind of under the radar because there's a lot of people that don't see us there. You know, Region 1 is so big. I mean, it's kind of crazy that we're in there. We're in District 7. There's still one more district to the east of us that is still in Region 1. And so we forget about how big our region is and how far it encompasses. And so we do get overlooked. Not a lot of people are watching what's coming out of the Concho Valley. It's been a minute since I think a team south of I-20's won a state championship. I think maybe Ozona in 1996 with Amber Tar, or 95. It's been a minute since a team as far as has done that. So it's kind of neat to play the role of the underdog. If you know, it's all biased. It's what a couple of coaches think is the best for this state, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, our goal is to play who's on the court, and you know, at some point we'll get recognized, but at that point, up until that point, we're just going to keep doing what we do and hopefully just fly under the radar.
All right. And kind of wrapping up here, this is your second year in Christoval. I think you said you came out of the Dallas area, had an extremely talented team here, but you said you're trying to build something. So you're coaching the 8th grade as well. How do you see this program over the next 5 years?
It's important because we've got some good young talent. I chose to coach the 7th grade last year, and the 8th grade this year. I kind of went up with them. They love basketball here at the school. It's a good place, and we've had a lot of success here. And coming here we knew that there would be some potential. But these 8th graders and the 7th graders, they've continued to win each year, and so it's fun to see them building the success, and hopefully they're seeing the success that the varsity level's having. And when they have that success, it hopefully bleeds on, and other people will want to continue to be part of that and join that and make their contribution to this program. So it's fun. It's fun to see the fruits of these kids' labor paid off. I mean, I feel like I'm just a facilitator. We've got kids that have talent, and if they keep doing this, we're not going to tradition never graduates, so to speak. I mean, you can hopefully rebuild instead of reload. And so reload instead of rebuild. Let me flip that. So it's exciting to have these kids see this and let them have the success that they've had as well.
All right, Coach. And one final question here, or I guess not a question. Give the fans something to be excited about heading into the playoffs coming up.
Well, it's what's exciting about this is we really beefed up our schedule, and we prepared. We played teams because we lost to Farwell. We played a very tough strength of schedule, and it's going to be tough to beat a team that, like I said earlier, we've got when you've got 5 people on the score that gets 5 people on the court that can score, it's tough to defend. And I'm excited about the opportunity of what someone's going to throw at us, because our kids put in the time and the effort and the energy. And I think we're just going to be a tough out this year because of what all we've got going for us.
All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time today.
Sir.
This has been head coach Christoval Lady Cougars, Brad Blalock. And I believe y'all have who on Friday?
We have Sterling City on Friday.
Sterling City on Friday. All right. Well, thank you for your time today, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, that was Coach Blalock. I really like the guy. He seems to have a lot of fan love out there, and the girls seem to love him. He seems to have him playing hard. Of course, when you have Hallie Hughes on your team, D2 athlete like she is, going to go play at ASU next year, that helps. You know, that obviously helps, having Madison George out there. And then I was really kind of, I said in the interview, Sophia Nemec played her butt off out there. Just whatever she had to do, she was doing. That whole team is hungry, and they're going to be well coached. And I would not be surprised to see them make a run at state, get up against Farwell. They got lost to Farwell last year, but to get up against Farwell and go win that game and then go on to state. We do need to get to our players of the week. Before we do, though, this is our Carpet Tech Player of the Week, so let's hear a quick word from Carpet Tech.
and I was at work, and my daughter called and said, "Mom, there's water in the basement."
There was quite a bit of water in our carpet.
There's water coming out your front door.
And I saw water coming out of the garage closet.
I called Carpet Tech.
I really felt like I was being treated professionally and personally and friendly.
They came in, they said, "Don't worry about this. We're going to get it taken care of."
I think what matters the most to me is that I feel comfortable and that I can trust them.
All right, Chadwick, you brought up 31 points in the Central game. That's one of our players of the week, is it not?
Yes, it is. So it's been a while since we've had Squeaky English as one of our players of the week. It seems like he plays at that level almost every week, and so it doesn't
regardless
feel right
of
to
sport
give
as
to him
well.
too much. Yeah. But he is our Carpet Tech Player of the Week this week for his performance against Midland High last Tuesday. The young man just continues to get better, where he wasn't as aggressive last season as he was 2 years ago. It seems like he's found some of that aggressiveness to drive in the lane more. He still lights out from beyond the arc. I think one of the shots he made, it was probably 8 to 10 feet behind the 3-point line. But other than that, he also is really good about at dishing the ball and getting assists. He's a quarterback out on the football field. He's a quarterback as a guard out on the basketball court too. So congratulations, Squeak. He's our Concho Valley Player of the Week.
And what about our South Plains Player of the Week?
Sam Arrington's our South Plains Player of the Week. He scored 26 points last game. And I mean, not to mention that.
Who does he play for?
Oh, for Lubbock Monterey. Sorry, Sam Arrington for Lubbock Monterey. He scored 26 points. I know Lubbock girls, especially with Aaliyah Chavez, get a lot of the limelight there. But I mean, the boys aren't bad either whatsoever. I mean, Sam Arrington, like I said, scored 26. Elijah Smothers scored 25. There was a good all-around play from the boys team, but he's definitely with that extra little point, he's definitely our South Player Plains Navy.
Yeah, well, and there's something little notable about Sam Arrington, right? It's like I feel like we know another Arrington.
We do. So Luke Arrington's the high school or the varsity quarterback for the Monterey Plainsmen as well, and Sam Arrington's his little brother. Now Luke Arrington is injured right now, so he would be on the court with him, but Sam right now is kind of taking charge, and he's looking good out there.
You have a little history with Luke Arrington, don't y'all?
I do. Well, I guess we both.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
We worked at Lubbock Country Club for a while. Ryan used to be my boss back in the day, and he when we were lifeguards, he would always we would just kind of like make him do tricks off the diving board and things like that. And he was really, really fun to
This is like little Rugrat level 7 to 9 years old, you know.
There,
so
yeah.
when we came back, we started covering him. He was just like, "Y'all don't remember me, do y'all?" And so once he like reminded us, we were like,
Wait,
"Bro, you're taller than me now. What do you want me to do?" You know. So
seriously, that dude was like this tall, super tiny, and then now he's just towering over us. Now it's awesome.
All right, well, that's good. Good that y'all know him. Good you have some history there, and pull him for an interview. Come on.
Yeah.
All
Me
right.
too, yeah.
We're getting some game previews and some notable matchups here in a second. Before we do, we have to have a quick word from Jim Bass Ford.
Right now at Jim Bass, scan our QR code and find great deals on cars and trucks. Right now, you can get 11 grand off MSRP on all remaining 2024 Ford Expeditions in stock.
You can only get deals like this at Jim Bass Ford, Houston Hardin Road, or 24/7 at bassbus.com, or you can... Hello? Hi, babe. Hey, can I call you right? I'm trying to explain the QR code.
All right, here's some game previews for this weekend. We got Bovina at Hale Center, Littlefield at Shallow Water, and Robert Lee at Very Best. We're going to throw to our South Plains guys first. Talk about Hale Center, Shallow Water, those games.
All right, so we're branching out a little bit. We've been covering a lot of the bigger schools lately. We've been covering the Friendships, the Lubbock Coopers, the Lubbock Cooper Liberties, and of course all of Lubbock ISD. Spreading out just a little bit this week because there are a bunch of ranked teams in the South Plains. It's one thing that Amarillo and Lubbock can do is play some basketball, especially at the smaller school level. There's so many teams that are ranked. And two of those teams that we're going to cover this week is Hale Center and Shallow Water. So Nick is actually going to the Shallow Water Littlefield game tonight, and I'm going to head over to the Bovina at Hale Center. And it'll give us a chance to not just see the core teams in Lubbock, but be able to expand to the rest of the South Plains as well.
All right, well, good deal. And Paul, you're going to Very Best for Very Best and Robert Lee, right?
That's right. Yeah, be a good chance to see Robert Lee. They're a state-ranked team, and they could fall from their rankings next week. They did suffer their first district loss by 3 points to Erie County earlier this week, and they've got a big one coming up next week versus Water Valley. So they want to make sure not to, be overlooking Very Best, who's been a pretty solid team this year.
All right. Now, other notable matchups: the Central Bobcats are traveling to Midland, take on the Bulldogs. Lakeview, they're aren't they number 2 in their district?
They are tied for second. That's right.
Tied for second against at Lubbock Cooper Liberty. Friendship is playing Permian. Lubbock Monterey is playing Amarillo. Great Creek is going out to Wall. That's a long trip. And then Sweetwater is at Jim Ned, which should be. I know the Jim Ned girls are extremely talented this year. They're playing really good basketball up there. Any other games we need to talk about before we, Paul?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that Friendship Permian game is huge. Like that's for first place. Both Friendship and Permian are undefeated in the district so far. Central really dropped the ball and they lost to both of them. Of course, those were road games at the time, and so they'll get both of them at home next time around. But yeah, for the first half, this is the end of the first half of 2-6A play tonight, and one of them is going to be on top after tonight.
All right, Paul. Any other games?
Well, yeah, you were talking about Sweetwater Jim Ned on the boys' side. That's a first place game. Wall took down Sweetwater on Tuesday, handed them their first district loss. And so now it's a wide open district race. Wall has Jim Ned coming up next month. And so even though Wall was 2 games back at the end of the first half of district, the Hawks still have a chance, especially with Lane Stansberry back now. I mean, he scored 28 points in his first game back. And you got a 6'5" guy that can shoot from distance. He's 9 and 10 from the free throw line. He was just super impressive. You wouldn't have thought it was his first game back. So with him back, that could totally change the district race. And Wall still got district title hopes. And, one of these teams, Sweetwater Jim Ned, is going to fall into a tie with Wall after Friday night.
Yeah, people don't remember. Stansberry is the one that came. I think he came down in the football weird.
That's right.
Against Littlefield up there in Sweetwater. Kind of strange how that all plays together. But he was out for the rest of football season, the next couple weeks, and now he's been out till now. Came back, and obviously that's not bothering him anymore if he's dropping damn near 30 points, right?
Yeah, he looked incredible. So a huge offensive addition for Wall.
All right. Is there anything else? Any other games? Anything else we need to discuss?
No, I think we're good,
South
man.
Plains?
Like I said, it's the end of the first half of the boys. So there's a bunch of boys teams that are off this week. The girls are winding down, but here in the next couple of shows, that's when it's going to be more exciting. We're going to start getting playoff clinchers. We're going to see who's going to go in, who's going to go out, and see who's going to challenge for district championships.
Yeah, that's one thing that Blalock brought up was, I guess, in basketball now, the big 2A and the small 2As are just kind of smushed together. So one is going to go be the big school winner, and then have a small school winner. And honestly, I haven't looked at it enough to be an expert on it, but it just seems like there's a lot going on just to get that stuff out.
They're all being treated like 6A now. It's just kind of random. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like whoever wins the district's going to go somewhere, and then whoever gets second place is just going to go in the smaller bracket.
All right.
So it's like, to be honest, do you want to win your district? You'll be in the big school bracket.
Well, I mean, I think Blalock said that they kind of locked up the small school 2A. Christoval,
okay.
In football, they're big school 2A.
Yeah.
In basketball, they're small school 2A. Anyway, this has been Hoops. I'm your host, James Bouligny. For Ryan Chadwick, Nick Thompson, and Paul Harris, we'll see you next week.